Hi everyone, welcome to the channel for this latest update on St Bees, my N-gauge layout based on St Bees Station in West Cumbria, set in the pre-grouping to grouping period. In this video I add some level crossing gates, some roads, and finish off the cinders ballast. So starting with the level crossing, I used a ratio kit, which seemed to be the best match for the period, although if I'm honest there wasn't a great deal of selection to choose from. Before putting on the layout, I lightly weathered it using some black wash to take away that sort of new look plastic that it had. But from the images, these seem to be quite clean, so I kind of wiped off most of the black wash, but what it does is it sort of tones down a little bit the white, which is the effect I was looking for. On top there's a sort of little bit for a lamp, which would have been on top of the crossing, and to sort of represent the red light, I used a paint pen, a red paint pen, which worked quite well. With all that done, it was then glued into a small recess between the wooden crossings and the road, and yeah, seems to look quite well, quite good. Beside it is a stone wall, which seems to be made from the same stone as the rest of the railway buildings at the station, and so I used the same stone paper that I've been using on the rest of the layout, which I think is from Scale Model Scenery, sort of their sandstone paper. That I used for the goods yard wall as well. So this is glued in place onto some thick card. The real wall sort of curves inwards towards the barriers, and so I've tried to replicate that with a few small. I've used cutting the wall into pieces and just kind of angling them. And there was also an advert on the wall which I've tried to replicate using some sort of grouping era signs that I've got. It's not exactly the same as the one in the image, but it's close enough. Between the road and the courtyard is a gate, and which is to allow access into the courtyard. And to replicate that, I've used a ratio gate, which have been spray painted in green and then glued in place. And then beside that, there's a few other bits of wall, which then leads out to the edge of the layout. I'm leaving the station side of the crossing for now, as this part of the fencing around this area is kind of integrated with the footbridge that I haven't yet added yet, but that will need to join up so that there is no access once the barriers are down onto the track. On the far side of the crossing, so which would be the east side, I've also added some walls using again the same paper, and deliberately left a space beside the track for what will be some small allotment holdings which existed right beside the track. Really strange place to have them, but I guess during the war every bit of land was used to grow stuff, and this was obviously deemed suitable. The roads on the layout are made from serial packet card on a base of cardboard to get them to the right height. All the dimensions I got from Google Maps and some old Ordnance Survey maps of the area. These were originally painted sort of earthy brown, as opposed to the grey and sort of dark, sort of almost black that you sometimes get with current tarmac roads. And with that earthy brown, I sort of applied a mix of white and other brown weathering powders to get the look I wanted. I use this as this old painting as a guide, as well as a few other images from the internet to kind of get that sort of pre-tarmac era road looking about right. As I've got it, I think it's the correct shade. It's maybe a little bit too brown, maybe it needs a little bit more grey added, but I'm going to leave it for now, and yeah, maybe come back to it in the future. Similarly with the platforms, in the last video you'll have seen these were quite grey. I've also repainted these in similar sort of brown to kind of, yeah, I think they're more likely to be brown than grey, or that dark grey that I had, so more like the roads. They are slightly darker than the roads, so I've tried to replicate that. And I also smoothed out some of the bumps in the platform using some of the modelling clay and sanded that down, which looks a lot better. But there are still some gaps that I'm only going to sort out once I've added the Swiss style waiting room to the platform. Once that's in place, then I'll finish off the rest of the platform and get that sorted. In the last video, I showed how I made, so I tried to make some cinders ballast for the sidings using a technique from Chris Nevard's website. I'll put another link in the description below if I remember. Where I left it in the last video, all that remained to be done was kind of getting the right colour to the siding. And with the road now in place, I sort of blend the two together effectively. And to do that, I used the same mix of paints and powders for the road areas, but added just some of the sort of browner powder just to kind of tone down that grey that I had to kind of get it, so yeah, sort of matching cinders ballast rather than the road. And this is kind of what it looks like at the moment. Maybe it needs a little bit more work, maybe a little bit more grime, sort of around where the wagons will be standing. Also added some more of the boundary wall, using again that same stone print, and that needs to continue up to the road boundary. But before I do that, I want to make sure I've got all the buildings in the right place before doing that, because they might sort of blend. Part of the wall might be the building. I'm quite checked out the photos yet to see if that's the case. And so yeah, that's kind of where I've got to with St. Bees. I'm really pleased with how it's coming together. I really like the colour set that I've got at the moment. I quite like that sort of earthy brown colour. Kind of it gives me the impression of the era more than the greys that I had originally. I think I'm now going to start on some of the buildings for the layout, and to do that I'll be using my usual technique of card with paper overlays, everything designed in Inkscape that I've used in all my previous layouts. So Crow Road, Peelish, Corkcool, they've all used the same thing. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. Hope you've enjoyed this latest update on St. Bees. If you have, please leave a like, consider leaving a comment, and yeah, I'll see you all next time.
This is the northern service to Carlisle. The next stop is Corkcool.